Hello everyone, my name is Jason and this is Redfish Bluefish. See if we have problems here. We've been having some issues with streams crashing and acting funny today and actually last night too, so bear with me before we get started with part 3 of our DIY aquarium plant tissue culture series. We have a couple of people filtering in now. We'll give it a few moments and hopefully a few more will come in. So far in chat, we've got Griffin Fish Room, we've got Cichlids23, we've got Punchy Paints. Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming by. Hopefully audio is good. I got a good night's rest after a long night, late night last night, getting everything squared away in the lab after our autoclave, our evening of autoclaving. Oh, goodness gracious. But I'm back, and we have our autoclave unloaded. I unloaded our vessels. Our media has cooled down, and we're ready to get started with part 3 of DIY Aquarium Plant Tissue Culture Science Series. This part 3 is going to cover aseptic EXPLANT lab work. It's actually where we harvest pieces of plant from donor plants, mother plants, and we bring them into the lab, we clean them, we sterilize them, we cut them down, and we get them into the media. I wanted to say I haven't gotten quite as many live stream or sort of comment-based questions. I have gotten some, but I'm surprised that I've gotten quite a few emails, and it's almost always surrounding one subject, and it's always from people who are interested in tissue culturing at home, tissue culturing plants. And the questions are almost always surrounding surface sterilization or how to sterilize plants. There's no one size fits all for plants. If the plant's really delicate, you have to be really careful with sterilizing. If it's really tough, something like you guys would be familiar with, like Anubias or a Boos or stuff like that. It's pretty resilient stuff. You don't have to take your time or be too gentle with surface sterilization techniques. So today is going to be of particular interest to those people who are looking for tips on sterilization. I've decided that we're going to do 2 plants, in fact, today. 2. We're not going to do 1. We are going to continue onward with Ludwigia Repens Mini Super Red, as was the plan. But I'm going to include another plant that I don't believe at this time has been tissue cultured before. I don't believe it has by anyone anywhere. It's certainly not available commercially in tissue culture form. That plant is Persicaria Sao Paulo. I've got a bunch of it in the same aquariums, I should say. Got a bunch of it. And I thought we'd give that a try as well. You'll recall from our last live stream, the media that we prepared contains TDZ and NAA. That's thidiazerone and naphthalene acetic acid. TDZ is usually pretty good at getting a lot of plants to respond to it. It's not necessarily like a specialized hormone. So I think we have a fairly decent chance of getting a positive response from Persicaria Sao Paulo using the same media matrix that we cooked up last night. So have a quick look at chat, see what's going on. We've got a lot more people in the room now. Welcome, guys. Thanks so much for coming by. Sorry we ran over just too long. It would have been too long letting this stuff cool down in the lab. We've got Sherry Kramer, welcome Sherry. The Zen Ginger, welcome Zen Ginger. Cody Donovan, heyo. Great. So, as I was saying, we're going to be working with 2 plants today, and we're going to get them sterilized, chopped up, cleaned up, and loaded into our containers. I'll show you our containers, give you a look at the lab. See if we can flip this thing around. All right. Oh, sure, I can answer a question, silly Susie. Go on ahead. What does raw honey do in a freshwater tank? It's going to add a lot of carbohydrate to it, that's for sure. A lot of sugar. And that is, I realize that a lot of people look to sugar to do good things for us because it does do good things for us. It's very good for humans. But that doesn't always necessarily translate very well to other things, certainly aquariums. My guess would be if you were to put sugar, or in this case honey, pardon me, in a freshwater aquarium, you would almost certainly get bacterial blooms from that in your tank. You would probably end up with a really thick, clear, actually transparent but thick upper layer floating on top of your water. That would be a bacterial bloom on top of your water. So that's what I'm guessing would happen. Although we could experiment, sky's the limit. Here we've got we've got 4 containers. I've sort of preemptively, hey, welcome, Nikam. I preemptively labeled it LRMSR2A, Ludwigia Repens Super Red. Got 4 more over here. These are really, really thin. You'll see they're basically liquid. Really, really thin. Which is not a problem for me because this is initiation media. This is what we use to get strains hopefully started. So we've got those 4 and those 4 to work with. So we've got to harvest some EXPLANTs. Let's do that. Grab just a jar. It's a clean jar, but it's not sterilized. We don't need to be sterile at this time. Sorry if I make you guys sick while I matrix out on you guys. Redneck matrix. Some dude running around in his house with a handheld phone, making weird noises. Okay, so we're going to get just regular old tap water in this. Like I said, we're not sterile at this point. Or aseptic. Get this going. Cold water, by the way, just regular old tap water. Whether it's chlorinated or not chlorinated or irrelevant. RO, whatever, doesn't matter. Distilled. You want it cold or room temperature, don't want it warm or hot. Warmth is the friend of fungus and bacteria. That's why hospitals are freaking cold. Right? So, right on. So let me actually bring this water in here, set it down. I'm working one-handed. Now, when we work with EXPLANTs in the lab, flip the camera. When we work with EXPLANTs in the lab, we use scalpels, always scalpels, never pinching instruments like these. In any plant tissue culture lab, this would get you fired, seriously. This damages the tissue, and that's bad. Even something delicate, these are really nice, these Tropica, snippety snips, whatever, no-nos. But to do the initial harvesting of plants we went to tissue culture, they're fine. So what I'm gonna do, now that the light's on, last night it was pretty much dark, you couldn't see anything. This is all Ludwigia Repens Mini Super Red, tons and tons of it. So I'm gonna harvest way more than I need. In fact, sorry, let me set the phone down while I snip because I want to prevent the plants, once I snip them, from falling into the water. So enjoy this peaceful scene. You guys remember I had 4 Cardinal Tetras in there, right? In this beautiful little tank, this aquascape. Now you see there is only 3. Several days ago, He was found dead. One of them. Don't know what happened. They're very old. I would like to think that it lived a nice long life. So now there are just 3 left. I'm snipping Ludwigia Repens Mini Super Red out of here, guys. Can't see it. Hello, everyone. I think we're back. Not sure what happened there. Can you guys, are you getting video? Can someone please let me know in chat if you're getting video and audio at this point? Okay, great. I think I don't know what kind of problems going on, but I just keep having to reboot YouTube, the YouTube app constantly. So sorry for the inconvenience, guys. Hopefully it doesn't plague us too much. This is really getting old, though. So anyway, yeah, I was telling you guys, unfortunately, I think we started with like 7 of these Cardinal Tetras, and they're just old. They've been dropping off one by one, so bummer. We still got 3 left. They're happy. Pretty happy with that little tank. Anyway, so we've got a bunch of Ludwigia Repens Mini Super Red, and that piece of Persicaria Sao Paulo. So, guys, I apologize that we lost that video and you got some spinny going on. I looked down at my phone and it was like, you're not connected to the internet. And I thought, that's a lie. Yeah, I am. So that is a problem. I don't know why it keeps happening. Okay, sweet. Let me take purchase of, what is that going on here? Okay. So the first thing that we want to do is when you snip them, you get it, well, let me flip it around, I'm sorry. There we go. When you snip them, you want to get them in water, nice clean water. Doesn't have to be sterile, but you don't want it to be dirty, that's for sure. And then, once you do that, there are lots of different ways to do this. Now, let me hand this over, sorry. There are lots of different ways to do it. But what I do is I get some cheesecloth, right? Just regular old cheesecloth. You can get 1 piece, 2 piece, whatever. Just push the plants down in there, just like that. Make sure they're all submerged. And then lay this over the top. Get your rubber band, right? And then just put it around it like that. Doesn't have to be tight or whatever, right? Just like that. So what we're going to do is, step 1 was, snip and throw in clean, but non-sterile water. Step 2 is now we take it in. I'll get the light in a second, sorry. We take it in and we put it underneath the sink. Sorry, where's the light? There we go. We put it under a sink and we just turn on the water. That's it. You just run it over like that. You don't turn it up too high. Oh, that's way too high, actually. Turn it down a little bit, way down, like that. So these plants have been growing outside of water, growing up out of an aquarium, so they haven't been underwater. So what we're doing is we're rinsing them. Well, that's what we're basically doing. We're just rinsing them right now to get off any any grime, any dirt, that sort of thing, before we start the next step, which is to actually wash them with a special detergent and brushes, sable brushes that people would normally use for art, to like sit down and paint a picture or whatever. If we have Punchy in here, if Punchy Paints is in here, she could probably tell us all about sable brushes, I bet. There we go. Okay. Okay, it looks like you guys have filtered back in. We had a little bit of a technical blurb again. A lot more people in here. We got Madfish Diva in the house. I'm going to scroll up and go through chat. Sorry if I'm missing stuff. I'm really bad with chat. We're just letting those explants rinse right now. Sin Ginger saying video good, audio little spotty but pretty clear. Yeah, it's background noise for sure from this flow hood that's been running for a day and a half now. Thank goodness they don't use much electricity at all. See if we have any questions. I don't think so. We've got Joel JZ in the house. We've got Madfish Diva. Madfish Diva had a comment, love the look of the small stone with the pebbles. Thanks very much for that. Yeah, that's actually a horticultural sand. I don't know if you look back in some past videos, I think it's maybe the second or third video that I did, I showed the horticultural sand that I use. You can go down and get it for like, I think it's $4 for a pretty good sized bag of it. And it's like nothing I've ever found in a fish store. So you just have to rinse it really well. It's super cloudy, but once you rinse it nicely, it's beautiful. Chattanooga Ed's in here. Welcome, Chattanooga Ed. Another person, Joel JZ. Welcome, Joel JZ. Big J's Fish Keeper. Welcome back, Big J. Always a pleasure to see you. And Punchy Paints is indeed in the house. Yes, let me show you what I use. Let me show you what I use to clean these stem plants. Nice. Super crappy one. Pam would not be seen caught dead with one of these things. This is a really Royal Soft Grip SG1150 made in China. It's just a little plastic sable brush. This is a number, whatever, 8. It's a number 8. And we use sable brushes because they're soft. And you don't want to use anything really tough. What you do is you use a little tiny bit of water and a tiny bit of this. Okay, see if you guys can say this. I can't. I tried again and again. That's like, seriously? Seriously. Polyoxyethyl N-sorbitan monolaurate. Okay. It's Tween 20. That's the name of the product. Polysorbate 20. This is a special kind of soap. It's a detergent, basically. You add a little tiny bit of this into a little tiny bit of water, and you use a sable brush to agitate it, and it makes soap, as you might guess. And you very gently use this to clean, the parts of the plant that we want to sterilize. That's how we clean it. Then we rinse it really, really well, right? Several times at least, a couple times, preferably 3. And then we finally surface sterilize it, which is the final step for sterilization. We surface sterilize it with something called Sodium dichloroisocyanurate. They come in these little blister packs. Each one of these in here is 400 milligrams. 3 of these and 1 liter of water will yield enough available free chlorine that it'll knock out anything. And it's much, much more gentle than is diluted bleach, than a lot of other things. These are little effervescent tablets. You may have come across some kind of a weird ad from time to time. You may have even seen this for sale in a hardware store. It's sold as, what do they sell it as? Like emergency water sterilizer. Like, so basically the idea is you can take some groundwater, not sewage water or whatever, but groundwater, water that you collect somewhere in an emergency. You're stranded somewhere, you're going to die. You can throw some of this into that water and stir it up with your arm, and like 10 minutes, it's safe to drink. It will not hurt you. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and do that at all. That's what this product was originally, I believe, intended for. Now, this strength, this 400 milligram sodium dichloroisocyanurate, this product is sold as baby bottle sterilizer. Now, they sell it for a lot of different reasons. As it turns out, this stuff is really good, super good for surface sterilizing EXPLANTs. That's what we're going to use today. Going to use that soap, Ingenuity, Patience, a sable brush, Punchy Paints, expert artistic direction, Punchy Paints in chat, and this, and time. So we're going to let those EXPLANTs rinse for a while. You really can't over rinse EXPLANT. The longer the better. So I'm going to hang out with you guys a little bit, gab and chat, and read your chat, and we'll see what happens. Welcome, Sand Creek Aquatics. I was in your chat, your stream last night. Sand Creek Aquatics says, all those chems, I would blow something up. Oh man, nah, you'd be okay with most of these chemicals. It's the, really it's like where people mostly get hurt is with equipment, usually. Autoclaves, anything with a heating element, and anything with a blade. It's just, you know, eventually you're going to get hurt, you're going to get cut by it or burned. But we use proper lab protocol to try to avoid that. This is not a special scalpel. This is a surgical scalpel. This thing will cut through bone. I'm not even joking. Bone won't stop it. It'll go right through it. These are number 10s. So like with anything, you just have to respect what you're working with and know what you're working with. Well, let's see. We got a comment from Punchy Paints in chat. Sable brushes are made from hair obtained from the tail of the Kolinsky Mostella sibirica, a species of weasel. Oh, nice. So yeah, that's a sable, right? I've seen some documentaries in what was it called? A Year in the Taiga, and there's some guys living way out there in the sticks in Siberia. Basically, the Taiga is the river that runs through Siberia, I believe, and yeah, they live there, and that's a big thing of what they do. They trap all kinds of little critters. So yes. Thank you, Zen Ginger, for spelling that out. Yes, Cichlids23. Yes, who came up with that name? Nerds. Those are names that only nerds can come up with. Joel JZ, another Washingtonian. Oh, nice. You're a Washingtonian. Not the one where the White House is. No, that is not Washington. See what else we got going on in chat. Yes. Pam knows a little bit about brushes, all kinds. So what else can we do while we're rinsing? Let's see. Grab the camera, make you guys ill again. Hopefully we don't start buffering, man. I don't dig that when that starts happening. I start to wig out. We've got to do this. We've got to prep our alcohol lamp. These are alcohol lamps. Um, you just burn, you just make fire. And that's what we pass our scalpels, our forceps and things through before we touch anything that is sterile and that we want to keep sterile. And the fuel we put in it is Everclear. That's the commercial product name. There have been some videos of idiots putting diesel and gasoline in them. No, that will not end well. In fact, it will end very poorly, very quickly. Don't do that. Let me flip this around. There we go. Get this loaded up here. One moment. There's something really sharp on the edge of this, like a piece of metal that just cut me. That's a bummer. There we go. Can't see chat right now, but I'm sure you guys are entertaining yourselves. As long as I don't look over and see spinning, it'll be okay. I feel about halfway. The only purpose of Everclear is lab work. No one, and I mean no one, can drink that stuff. Even in my drinking days, I had enough dignity to stay away from Everclear. Hopefully I'm not offending any, like professional taste testers employed by the Everclear Corporation. Who am I kidding? I don't have taste. All right, groovy. Nice and there. And it's got these weird angles cut into it, not for decoration, but so you can let it sit like that, or you can set it up, or you can do what you want with it. I usually have it like that. And that goes over here. So I'm right-handed. So most labs, most lab people are right-handed because most humans are right-handed. Got everything over on the right. The one thing that you usually don't want to keep on the right when you're working in a lab, let me back up. So the one thing you usually don't want to keep, or I don't, keep on the right are liquids. Don't do that. Because you're over here, you're rocking and rolling, you're chopping stuff, and you reach over for something and you go bump and you knock it over, and it just so happens to be something flammable. And guess what you got ripping right there? Wah, wah. Error. You just started a fire in your lab. Oh, that's why I keep liquids. I tend to keep them away from the right side. Got that prepped. I don't need to see my weird restroom. That's why I keep flipping the phone around. Chattanooga Ed is right-handed. Right on, Ed. Right-handers unite. Actually, I think, Punchy, I think I noticed that you're a lefty, aren't you? In a video where you was drawing good. All right, that's rinsing nicely. Man, that water's freaking cold. Whew. Yeah. Sadly, this jungle is going to have to be gutted, taken out, because these little baby guppies, you can't really see them because there's so much algae. Tons and tons and tons of guppies, babies. These are all those, this strain that I have over here. Oh, you guys probably, I could mention this. I gutted this tank. All the plants that were in here, the rotalas, got them out. It was time. Yeah. So I am kind of not super happy about some stuff going on in here. You see? All this freaking algae, man. I am really unhappy about that. What kind of guppies are these? Gosh, what are they? These are Platinum Galaxy Tigers. These are Platinum Galaxy Tiger guppies. These are the males. And these are the gals. Some just had babies. I see some swimming around in here. Yeah, it's just a farm tank. Anyway, these guys and these guys made all these guys. I mean, there's a slew of baby guppies in there, man. Yeah. Anyway, so let's set this up. This is for a few more. Turn this up a bit. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's go back to chat and see what we have going on here. Going back to chat. Sand Creek Aquatics. No, it was awesome. Just hanging out with you guys last night. Never a waste of time to hang out with Fishman. Seriously. Cyclist23 says, I'm going to move to Siberia once North Face sponsors me. Yeah, you're going to need more than North Face sponsorship, my friend. You're going to need sponsorship from, let's see, North Face, Caterpillar for all of your heavy snow equipment, maybe Patagonia on top of North Face just for good measures. You need a lot of stuff. You live in Siberia, man. Madfish Diva says, I'm kind of feeling like I'm in my sophomore botany class and loving it. Well, thanks so much, Madfish Diva. That's very kind. I don't want to make it too deep or dry or boring. Thank you very much. Punchy Paint says, yes, I draw and write with my left hand, but I do everything else right-handed. Then you're just like my little brother. Not little brother, younger brother. He's a grown man like me. He's 4 or 5 years younger. Yeah, he is ambidextrous, and it's the weirdest. Weird. He's a freak. I'm just kidding. I love you, bro. No, it is really odd to see someone who's ambidextrous just code switch between both hemispheres of their brain is matrixy. We've got Cody-san in the house. Welcome, Cody-san. Thank you so much for stopping by. We've got a comment just popped up from Zinginger. I know it's off topic a little, but do you happen to know anything about acclimating plants to brackish from fresh? No, I don't. A lot of plants can tolerate some level of sodium. In fact, all plants need some sodium. That's very true. I struggle to think of one plant that does equally well in brackish or fresh. Mangrove is obviously, does brackish, salt, all kinds of stuff. I don't think it does well in fresh at all. No, I don't. I guess the short answer is no. I really don't know about acclimating plants from brackish water from brackish to fresh. I would imagine if you wanted to give it a try with anything acclimation, going slow is your friend. Yeah, just ease into it. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Just saying hello to Mrs. Redfish Bluefish. Mrs. Redfish Bluefish just got home from work. So anyway, we are going to go grab those plants. Just about ready. I'll grab them. I'll be right back. Okay. Ooh. Got it. So these are rinsed pretty well. Got a bunch of clippings here. Whoa. Water everywhere. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to clean them. And I'll move. Let me figure this out. Camera here. See if I can plug some power in to my phone. All right. Hopefully that's going to work for us. Awesome. Okay. We got our plants here. We haven't surface sterilized anything yet, right? At all. So we're okay. We can handle it with our hands. We're fine. Okay. Paper towels. Go through tons of paper towels doing this stuff. All right. So here, grab a pointing, something to point with. So here, you see in this specimen here, you see this little tiny, I don't know if you can see it, at this juncture, at this node here with this is the main stem, right? You guys know what a stem is, the main stem. Then you got a leaf here, right? And this little thing that attaches the leaf at its base to the stem is called a petiole. This little thing right here. So where the petiole attaches to the stem is where the meristematic regions are on this plant. And you can see indeed in this plant, it's already started to grow here. It's already started to activate. So we don't want that. We don't want to use that node. It's already started. We want to use, for instance, like a node up here, like this one or that one. The newer the material on the plant, I guess what I'm trying to say is the younger the material, the plant, the more desirable it is for plant tissue culture. The more shoots you'll get, the more activity you'll get. So that would be a no right there. This is definitely a no. It's too far down. I mean, it would work, but you don't want to do it. And not here either. I see some that these are already starting. So we're gonna. This one's definitely a candidate for right here and upward. All of them, I can tell you from experience, are going to be exactly the same. Exactly the same. So what we have to do is we have to clean it right there at that juncture. You got to clean it with tween and this brush and some water. Because definitely, if you were to like just throw it like this and try to surface sterilize it like this, you got like a, I don't know, maybe a 10% chance of success, maybe. You do have to clean this stuff. So there's another one. This one's good. This one's good. All these are good. So get some more water. Sorry. These, this kind of tissue culture that we're making are nodal meristematic tissue cultures. Nodal, meaning we're taking explant material from a node, right? This node here. Either this one or the one above it. It's back in here. All right. Some water. Just a little bit. A few drops of clean 20. Maybe just one. Takes very little. Very little. Like 2 drops, maybe 3. Actually too much, but make it work. It'll start to foam up a little bit, kind of get gummy. Need a little bit more water. Jeez, let's see. There we go, just like a drop or 2. There we go. Kind of getting translucent like that. I don't know if you can see it. 41. Put this and just start cleaning it. Another one here. Okay. Actually, this one's really good. It's a really good specimen here. It's actually, there's plenty of the Ludwigia. Now this plant, I don't know. Never tissue cultured anything like it before. But I will tell you that this plant, Persicaria Sao Paulo, so Ludwigia Repens has a leaf, a main stalk and a petiole that, or a stem, and it's got a petiole that comes off this way and a petiole perfectly opposite coming off that way. This plant's not the same. It's more like it's more like bamboo than anything else. It's got one leaf here, one leaf here, one here, one here, and I can tell you that the meristem at each node is located just above this leaf and underneath. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little sheath here. See if I can scrape it up. You see the hairs moving? It's underneath that. So we got to get rid of that. We get rid of that because we want to make sure that hormones, nutrients, everything we're using is going to contact the meristem, right? And if they're covered up with some kind of weird bamboo, like little sheath that kind of grows up above nodes, just like bamboo has, well, that's going to be a problem, right? We're going to get rid of that. Clean this one. And this one. This one. So I'm going to take 4 nodes in this guy. Try to, anyways. All right. Actually, Get rid of these. Got some clean water there. It's back in there. All right. So I use these. Little containers. This is sterile water for rinsing. Often I like to use it for rinsing. So let's see if it's going to work for us this time. This Persicaria is actually a pretty big sample, a large sample. So I don't know. Remember, this is not sterile yet, so I have to be terribly careful. I got all the Ludwigia Repens Mini Super Red in here. I'm going to rinse it gently. All right. Move it to the next one. Same thing. All right. Let's move this over here. Now, my hands have not been clean. They've been very, very dirty. All that good stuff. We're going to make up our sodium trichloroisocyanurate. Our jar. Now from this point on, we need to be careful, because we're going to surface sterilize these plants. After they're surface sterilized, well, we want to keep them clean, aseptic, right? So put my gloves on. God, these gloves stink. So weird. Sweet. I'll grab a lighter and start this alcohol in here. There we go. That's all they do. crazy to get up. Ah, just made a mess. That's awesome. It's all right. We're still sterile. All right. A little bit. I don't know about these jars. These things seal better than any other jar I've seen. Okay. So this is 800 mils of water. I'm going to pour off a little bit of it because we don't need 800. Closer to 675. So we can use 2 of those tablets instead of 3 of those sterilizing tablets. Okay. And then we take our sterilizing tablets. You leave the lid off because these things are effervescent. They start bubbling and releasing gas, chlorine gas. And if you seal it, why don't you just made a bomb? It's not good. This stuff will start bubbling like crazy. 1. That's 2. So it's releasing free chlorine right now. That's what's going to give us our sterilizing benefits. Go back to chat. Take a load off. We are in front of our blow hood. So no contamination going on. To let that dissolve. It does not take long. It is going to yield the correct amount of chlorine. If you put too much, you will damage the plant. You will kill them, in fact. You've got to be careful. If you put too little, you risk not sterilizing anything, that's not good. Just clean up a little bit here. Man, water went everywhere. Bit of a water explosion there. Get back to chat, see what's going on here. Temps are dropping fast outside and the wind is howling. It's starting to snow again. Oh, Pam, sorry to hear that. I hope you've got plenty of wood on the fire, or for the fire. Mika, that's very kind of you. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. I really hope you keep coming back. We want to make this informative and fun. Give you guys kind of a like a cool science class to hang out in, right? Not a lame one, but a cool one. This thing is going. I'm making progress. I can smell the chlorine, actually. Oh yeah, smells exactly like a pool, like a swimming pool, just like it. So once those are dissolved in there, what we do is we'll put both plants, all those plants in there for 17 minutes, sealed, and we'll shake it around and make sure they're submerged for 17 minutes. Any less than that, probably going to end up with 100% contamination. Much more than that, we might actually start killing tissue. That's always a major problem with tissue culturing. How much is too much? Are you actually disinfecting things or not? Well, we can't see bacteria or fungi or fungal spores, any of that stuff. So it's invisible, right? We don't know if we're actually going to be successful, usually until about, say, 3 or 4 days. 3 or 4 days after today, we will know if we have contamination, if we have failed. Were we too rough with the plants? Is the EXPLANT material no longer viable? That sort of thing. Uh-oh, we got some "that's what she said" going on. That's what she said. I'm very familiar with the "that's what she said" game. That's a very favorite game of me and my wife. Okay, so we have totally dissolved. We're gone. I mean, I see some little tiny grains in the bottom, but whatever. Okay. All right. Here's our Persicaria. I'm going to hold off on the Persicaria. I'm going to do this. We're going to do our Ludwigia Repens Mini Super Red. Opening it up here. I know you guys can't see, but just trust me. Okay, we're clean now, right? But we're not aseptic yet. We haven't sterilized anything, so I can just grab my regular old forceps that are clean but not sterile. Oops. And drop the plant, of course. That's cool. Nice look. There we go. Put this lid on. Put this ring on. Turn it upside down, like that. What do we turn it upside down? Well, I just put the lid on, and the lid was facing up, and maybe there's contamination on it, right? I mean, highly unlikely. But we're going to do this number. So this right here, this part that you're seeing, this is surface sterilization. The tween 20 with the sable brush and the blah de blah, that is not surface sterilization. That's prepping for it. Let me stress again what I told you guys. The part with the brush and the soap, that is super important. You will fail if you do not do that. I think I said it in the last live stream, maybe the one before that. You can sterilize a whole lot of stuff. You can sterilize water, you can sterilize air, you can sterilize plants, you can sterilize all kinds of things. You cannot sterilize filth. And by filth, I mean grime, fill. You walk outside and have a look at any plant, growing outside. Have a look at any leaf on it. And now take a closer look at where the petiole comes off of the main stem. The petiole has the leaf attached to it. Look at the nooks and crannies on plants outside, and you will see that they have grime in them. Grime, filth, dirt, whatever you want to call it. You cannot sterilize that stuff. You got to get it off. So that's what we're doing there. So I got 6:22. That's 2 minutes so far. Right? 6:37. At 6:20 local, Whidbey Island Pacific time. That's when we started. 6:20 p.m. And it just turned 6:23. So at 6:37, it'll be good. Now, in preparation of that, what I'll do over here, you probably can't see it. Just a little bit. This thingy. We'll sterilize that. And then after we sterilize it, no more touchy. First, let me sterilize my freaking hands. As we saw last night, you're doing this a lot. This says 91% isopropyl. That's a lie. It's not 91%, it's 70. I replaced it. We use 70% isopropyl alcohol to sterilize our hands and surfaces, like hard surfaces. You do not use anything weaker or stronger. All right. Now that that's been done, got a little alcohol prep pad I had laying around. I thought, oh well, we'll use it. I'll let it go to waste. Scrubby, scrubby. Gotta get all the bad stuff off of this, off the top, because this is what we're going to use. This is our chopping block. These big honking petri dishes that I have here are terrible. They're not useful for anything except for as a cutting board. That's how big these stupid things are. But before we put stuff that's been sterilized, EXPLANT that's been sterilized on it, right? You gotta clean this. So it's sterile. This has already been autoclaved. Okay. That is super clean. Super sterile. It's just a waiting game now. Just chill. Wait for the sterilization to occur. One other thing I want to talk to you guys about. I should have spoken to you about this like 2 days ago. The flow hood, working with a flow hood. This is a flow hood, this thing that I'm pointing at. It's making all this noise. It's constantly putting out air coming this way at us. Pure air. Nothing in it. No bacteria, no nothing. Right? No fungal spores. So the concept of this thing is that you never, when you're working with them and you have something clean, something sterile like this, right? We just cleaned it. You never, if your hands are not clean or if you're moving something that may not be clean, you never pass that object in front of what's sterile. Does that make sense, you guys? You should probably, I mean, I'm sure you guys can guess why. The reason why you don't do that is because if there are bacteria or fungal spores or whatever on that thing that's probably not clean, air's coming out of that thing, it's going to blow bacteria and fungal spores off of that, even bacterial spores off of that thing onto your thing here that you think is actually sterile when in fact it is now not sterile because you just screwed up. So we never ever pass like our hands, even if we've just used alcohol on them, like, you know, my hands, like if I just sterilize them and everything, right? And I'm sure they're clean. Even then, you don't get in the habit of doing that because it leads to bad lab technique. And bad lab technique leads to failure every time. Put some more alcohol here. We'll really scrub this thing. Oops. Oops. Go. Okay. Clean up around here while you guys chat. One thing about tissue culturing, man, it makes so much mess. Like I said, paper towels, paper towels, paper towels. Or kitchen towels, I think is what they're commonly referred to in Europe and especially the UK, right? Kitchen towels as opposed to paper towels. Same thing. So we're at 628. Chattanooga Ed, this seems like a really hard way to grow plants. Yeah, it is. But we're really not growing. Well, I mean, technically we are. What we're doing is we're micro-propagating plants. So you guys, I mean, all of us in the aquarium hobby, especially with stem plants, if you've got some growing in an aquarium or even outside of an aquarium, if you want to if you want to propagate them, all you have to do is snip and replant, right? Snip and bury, snip and bury, snip and bury, because the plants will naturally make branches wherever they were cut. Just below that, the next meristematic points on the plant, that's where they're going to make new shoots. This is basically what we're doing is we're taking that meristematic point on that plant and we're excising it from the plant, and then we're placing it on this media, right, with these hormones in it, so that instead of 2 shoots per cut, right, because that's what you normally get for like Rotala. You trim it and it'll make 2 shoots, right, 2 new shoots coming off that, sometimes 3. Ludwigia is 2 or 3. What this is going to do is instead of 2 or 3 shoots off of one, incision, every EXPLANT is going to produce anywhere from 20 to 100 shoots. So yes, Chattanooga Ed, you're right. It is much more difficult than the traditional way of propagating, but it's a way of producing many, many, many thousands of times more plants in the same amount of time. So, definitely. A lot of science behind it. So we got 7 more minutes on our sterilization. I'm going to agitate some more. The EXPLANTs look like they're holding it really well. If you ever are doing this and you see like leaves are starting to come apart and weird stuff is going on, I got bad news for you. It's not gonna go well for you. So after this, the assumption is they have been sterilized, surface sterilized. Take them out of there, put them onto there, and cut them down. Really cool thing about this sodium dichloroisocyanurate stuff is that, unlike bleach, when you take the EXPLANTs out of there and get ready to chop them down on this, you don't have to rinse the solution. Yeah, it's like a no-rinse solution. Bleach, you absolutely have to rinse the heck out of EXPLANTs if you're using bleach before you can chop them up and put them in your media. This stuff you don't have to rinse. It's just water with chlorine in it, because that's what that bubbling effect was. It was releasing free chlorine into the water, available chlorine, I should say. So we keep agitating. We don't want to agitate so much that we're physically like destroying tissue. That's for sure. 5 more minutes. How are we doing on fuel over here? Yeah, we're good. The one drawback I will say about living in Washington State, and this is totally off topic, and I don't mean to badmouth Washington State. I love this state. I love the Pacific Northwest. It's an amazing, beautiful, magical place. But the one drawback, this state is a bummer on one thing: taxes on that stuff. Now, I'm not a drinker. I don't drink. I don't do any of that stuff. But I went down to get a bottle of this for this project. Well, it's not the first bottle I purchased, by the way. Um, I was shocked to see the amount of tax that they've levied on alcohol in this state. It is insane. Easily twice as expensive as anywhere else I've gone. So I have no idea why I digressed onto that subject. Be right back with you guys. We've got 4 more minutes. .35 by my time, 2 more minutes. Oh gosh. So guys, I've got some cool content that's going to be coming up that's a little bit different. I'm going to take a step, maybe half a step back from science. If you guys, if you go click on my channel, if you click on my channel's homepage, you'll see that that I have a banner up there. It's kind of a newish banner, I guess you could say. I put it up to kind of underscore where I'd like my channel to go, where art, nature, and science meet. Is my motto. So next, we're going to start with a couple of 40-gallon breeders that I've got in my garage. I busted out all of my work tools, my sliding compound miter saw, and all that good stuff. And I built an over and under 40-gallon breeder stand that has the aquariums on it. And we're going to be bringing that into my fish dungeon, and we're going to turn both of those 40-gallon breeders into 2 new projects. I want to do a deep sand substrate in one of them, and the other one, I'm not sure. Looks like we might have a question in chat. We've got 1 more minute to go. Mike M, is the propagation entity genetic trait in any specific part of these plants or in every cell of these plants? Thinking of how it restarts the growth, can it start? Aha, that's an excellent question. Excellent question. We did cover that in part 1 of this, but I'm most happy to go back and to talk with you about that while I work, because it just turned 6:37 p.m. my time. Let me back this up a little bit, and we'll talk about a phenomenon that makes this all possible. It would not be possible otherwise. The plants, or more accurately, plant cells, if they did not have the ability of totipotency. So we have stem cells, guys, right? Everybody knows that. We have stem cells. They're a very specific, special kind of cell in our body. And given the right conditions, they can become any other kind of cell. Plants don't have stem cells. They don't have them. They don't exist in plants. No such thing as a stem cell in a plant. What plants have instead is the ability called of totipotency, which tells us that any cell in a plant, given the correct conditions, can become any kind of other cell of the plant. Yes, it's called totipotency. So to answer your question, any cell of a plant can become any other kind of cell from that same plant. For sure. Let's see if I can angle this up. This is going to be tough. I'm going to have to re-sterilize my hands repeatedly and show you some of what I'm working on, not all. So I've got my forceps here. Go with these. We're going to spray it down, some alcohol, put alcohol on them, get them wet, put it in the fire. And they're going to catch on fire just like this. You see them burning? We're going to put them back in it like this, get them really hot, really hot. Okay? And we're going to hold them here in front of the blow head. Angle this back up. See what I'm doing? Cooling them in front of the flow hook. You don't want them to be really hot when you use them to grab the plants, because it's going to kill them. Okay. Look at what we got to work with. Okay. See one node there that'll work for us. So let me grab the scalpel, choppity chop. We're going to put the blade only, not the handle, but the blade only on this heat over here, this flame. Get it really hot. These blades will turn tempered looking like real black and gross. Don't worry about that. You don't care how they look. You want it hot. And this is definitely hot now. Still got this. You can reheat this if you like. It's a good idea to always get in the process of, constantly heating your tools, constantly, because that kills contamination. Okay, should be cool now. Can't see what I'm doing, but I am chopping. Oh. Chopping the leaves off. All right. So I'll stop here so I can show you what I've done. That little piece, it's the EXPLANT. That's the bottom, that's the top. Bottom, top, bottom, top. So that is what I'm going to jam into the agar. Okay? I'm going to sterilize my hands again. Okay. Get the alcohol get off of them. Put this down here. I'm going to juggle some stuff around, guys. Sorry. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see that. Man, this is a nightmare trying to film while I do this, guys. Okay. Keep having to touch things to readjust the camera, so keep having to re-alcohol my hands. Okay. All right, letting my hands dry. Okay. So, lift our lid off. Oh, I almost did it wrong. Lift our lid off, right? This. Do not drop it. Do not put it down. You see how I'm holding it with the opening facing the wind, and the top is not facing away or towards. It's just letting the air run right over the top. It's perfect. So what I'm going to do now, these really small forceps, these are my favorite ones for this. I'm going to sterilize them on the heat, which you can't see me doing in the flame. It's definitely sterilized now. I'm cooling in front of the flow hood. Okay, and now I'm going to grab it. Here, turn it around. So you see, watch what I do. Point, just like that. Yoink. All of that work, guys, just to do that. I never said I was a practical man, okay? That's for sure. You notice, I don't know if you can see, I hope you can see, I jammed it into the agar, right, into the media, just below where the merispins are. Now, very, very important with these vessels are not airtight. They're not airtight. But the lid does allow for the tiniest amount of air, which means gas exchange, which we want, right? But there's no like filtration system. Let me get these gloves off. I am definitely going to buy a new brand of gloves because these things blow. Okay, here we go. This tape. This is 3M micropore tape. See, so it's made by the 3M Corporation, and the product is called micropore. It's made out of paper. This is not surgical tape. Surgical tape is super thick and crazy sticky, and it doesn't allow gas exchange. What we do with this, I wonder if I can, hold on, if I can get the tape started. There we go. We do with this, we get it off like that, see? When we use this, we wrap it around the edge. Seal it. Like this. And that allows for gas exchange, but it does not allow for pathogens to enter. Bacteria and what have you. It's not good. All right, just like that. Make sure it's sealed. We've labeled it Ludwigia Repens Mini Super Red, February 8th. So what we're going to do now is remove it under our light. Ludwigia Repens tissue culture, meristematic tissue cultures, we use a 16-hour photo period. So 16 hours of light, 8 hours of darkness. That's how it's done. You've just seen me make a tissue culture. We've got more to do, of course. I'm back. Okay, let's go to chat real quick. Did that make a sense, guys? The process of, you can't touch this before that, and what have you. I hope it did. We've actually got some more tissue cultures to make. I'm really pumped up to mess around with the Persicaria. Actually, that's going to be very cool to work with that. Sterilize this, get it hot. Remember, it's still clean, presumably. We assume it is. We freaking hope it is. Because if it's not, we failed. All right. Get these forceps really hot. Get this stuff off of here. Okay. You know what? Let me sterilize that, just in case. Okay. And another one to work with. Cool these down. All right. Go for up here. That one. And sterilize this again. It's probably still clean, but as I said, fire is free. Use it. Fire is your friend in this case. Just cool down. And then I'll re-sterilize my forceps. Yes, I know I don't have gloves on right now. That's totally cool. I'm not touching anything with my actual hands. Get this cool here. MKM over here, they count 15 to 20 euros. If you don't mind me asking, where are you located? Somewhere in Europe. Are you in Scandinavia, perhaps, or? Okay, these are cool enough. I'm gonna go for this guy. I want him. You guys see how he did that? Just cut it up like a steak. Chop, chop, chop. If you're paying attention, you better be when you do this. Which end is the top? Is that the top or is that the top? Is the top closer to me, and this is me, or is the top further away from me? That's to pay attention to that, because that tells you, when you put it in your media, which side do I jab in? Is this the top? On some plants, if you get them upside down, right, and those meristems start exploding with cellular division and new growth, you got it facing the wrong way, it's going to die. They're going to start growing down into the media, and they will suffocate. They don't respire much, but they do need some respiration. Okay, so this is the bottom, that's the top, furthest away from me. MKM gets it. And you win absolutely nothing. Sorry, I have nothing to give. But you were paying attention, so you definitely win bragging rights. So yes, closest to me is the bottom, right? So what I'm going to do is sterilize this. over here off camera. Okay, let it cool here. Move another one of these guys down. You can't really see very well. Okay. Once again, we take the lid off. This is our tweezers, our forceps rather, that I'm trying to drop. Spin our little EXPLANT around and grab it from the top and jam it in. Like that. It's back on. And then get this micropore tape. They do make a product that's intended for this. Instead of micropore tape, they make something called parafilm. Parafilm. It's a patented product made by some, I don't know who makes it, some very wealthy corporation here in the U.S. probably. Because that stuff is expensive. It works very well. Don't get me wrong. It's a great product, but they are very proud of it because their pride is reflected in the high cost. Just wrapping this around, guys. Sorry for the poor hand roller. All right, there we go. Numero dos, number 2. One's actually a little bit too deep, but that's okay. Okay, let me move it back over into the light. That one's probably not going to work because I got it too far. That's okay. I really need to fix the lighting in here. The lighting is quite poor. I have a hard time seeing. I don't have very good vision anyways. All right. Move your stuff off. This is a good one. Here. Now. All right. Scalpel up. So, all right. All righty. So that's our third EXPLANT. Right there. It's our next node. the same way, I guess. Actually, use these longer ones. Forceps. Got about 24 or 25 forceps, and 20 of them are useless because they're for field dressings. They're for bandages, that sort of thing. So this should be cool. I'm gonna take one more. Take the lid off, just like before. Now, this EXPLANT, I'm gonna spin it around. Grab it by the top, if I can. Oh my God. There we go. Just that. Micro pour. Almost there. Okay. Another one. Put that over there. And I think I see another really good viable piece there. Be right back. Okay. Sometimes you get agar, the gel, on these forceps, and you need to rinse it off because if you cook it and under your lamp, it's going to make it way worse. So, we really need to sterilize these quite well. In this fire, 7 seconds or so. Okay. Same as before. Scalpel, hot scalpel. Let it cool down. What do I ever work at here? Just go. Be very viable. It's a young shoot. So I'm going to sterilize this. Often, don't even use tweezers, you just mash with the tip of the scalpel and it slices right through. There we go. Through the E. Let me just give this a quick pass through the flame. As I said, you can't over sterilize. Here, take the stupid lid off. There, that one came off better. Spin this around. There we go. And finally, our micro portrait. We'll do that off camera. One, two, three. 4. All right. Nice and sealed. Okay. Yeah, using things like micropore tape instead of things like parafilm will save gobs and gobs of money, honestly. Those name brand products like parafilm, anything by Sigma Aldrich is just gonna cost you a fortune. Okay, guys, I'm gonna sit down for a moment. My feet hurt. Mika M, Sweden, nice, nice, nice. I have never been to Sweden, but that would be wonderful. Um, I'd really love to visit Sweden and Norway, both. They're on my list. Cichlids 23, we got Fatherfish. Fatherfish has a question. Can you take a starter at every leaf junction? At every node? Yes, yes you can. Fatherfish, the best node to use is the first node, right? Which is technically the very growing tip. That very first node is always by far the most desirable to use. But you need a microscope to really, excise that very, very tip. If you really want to get all of the tissue that's not meristematic away from it, if you need to, for some reason, isolate it, you're going to need a microscope for that, especially if you have these eyes and this poor vision. But so the rule is that's the best, number one place you want to go. Often not practical, which is why you saw that last one that I did. That was number 2, right? That was the node just below the growing tip. That's the best. 3 is the next. 4th is the next. When you go down and you're down around like node 6 or 7, it's usually not a good idea to try to tissue culture those because you just don't you don't get the number of shoots off of them in the micropropagation setting that you expect. I just realized I think I have my phone flipped around the other way that I did yesterday, so my lab looks like it's flipped. Weird. I just realized that. Sorry, guys. Anyway, to show you what I got going on. Sorry. There we go. So this is the rack. This is one rack. Got our light on. This is where we have our Ludwigia Repens mini super red that we created. So we're going to hope for the best and see what happens. Now I am also going to do the Persicaria. Let me put this back in the stand, sorry. I'm also going to tissue culture the Persicaria. I'm not sure if you guys want to see that. We've actually been going for a while. It's going to be interesting to see if the Persicaria actually responds. It'd be very interesting. Hardly for a moment. You know what? Let's do just that. Let's do the Persicaria. Why not? This is Persicaria Sao Paulo. Everyone's going gaga for this plant. Everyone wants it. All these aquascapers, because if you put it in an aquarium with really good light and CO2 injection, it turns super red. And it's got a very unique leaf shape and red stem. It's quite desirable. A lot of people like it. So let's sterilize that guy, just how we did before. You know what? Changed my mind about something. Let me get rid of this old sterilization water that we used for the Ludwigia. We'll do a new batch of sodium dichloroisocyanurate. I want to lead, like basically set a good example. I want to follow good lab protocol. Yeah, I could have used that jar. Still had plenty of disinfectant still in it, but let's go ahead and do the right thing here. Because I really don't think I'm going to get success, quite frankly, with this Persicaria. I just don't. I think that we'll get some response, but that the response is going to be, my gosh, this thing is sealed beyond belief. Holy smokes. That's the end of these jars. I'm never buying them again. Oh, God. Piece of junk. Okay. I just realized the product name. Sure Tight. Yeah, you're not joking. Sure Tight. Sure Tight and then some. All right. Let's get rid of some of the excess. Good. Right at 600-ish. 600-ish mils. And we'll get a couple more of our magical sterilization tablets. These are sterilization tablets. They're not disco biscuits. I'm not doing anything illegal in here. All right, just let that stuff go to town. Wish I could have some music in here, but I'm afraid I'll get a copyright violation if the Big Brother sees that something's going on. I would hate to get a smackdown. Yes, I would also love to come visit. That would be pretty incredible. My ancestors come from Scotland, all the way. But I've always wanted to visit Scandinavia. In fact, there's quite a genre that started a film genre, Scandinavian noir, noir film. Like The Killing and films like that, series like that have really become quite the hit over in the U.S., certainly in the U.K. They're basically Norwegian or Swedish, usually. I think there was one that was set in Finland, in fact. But yeah, there's these cop dramas, always searching for serial killers or missing children or something like that. Really grim. Quite a interesting new genre of film. New. It's new for us, anyways. It's probably not new for you. So we are making progress here. Now this Persicaria, remember I was talking about it, we're going to have to um, trim it, trim the excess off of it a little bit differently than we did with this Ludwigia, because the Persicaria is a different plant, and it also has that weird, sheath kind of membrane that I pointed out, sort of like bamboo has. We'll re-sterilize this thing, clean it up. Okay. Excellent. Okay, it looks like we are just about fully dissolved, close enough anyways. So, we're not sterile yet, so we can just grab this, pop it right in. Sterilize this guy. Again for 17 minutes. All right. Okay. Gosh. Going back to chat while we let that sterilize. It's 7:15 my time. So it's 7:27. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. What am I saying? Hold on, guys. Someone's trying to get my attention off camera. Be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, what time do we start? Let's say 7:15. So 7:15, 17 minutes, 7:32. So 7:32 p.m. my time will be clear. Go back to chat here, see what's going on. Yes, Cichlids23, I'll jump on the comment he made. Apparently his grandfather was born there and moved to Wisconsin after high school. Yes, that's very, very common from what I understand. There are a lot of people of Scandinavian descent that live in Wisconsin. Many, many. In fact, there are quite a few people on this island, Americans on this island, that are of Scandinavian descent. And several times a year, we'll see a lot of advertisements out for lutefisk. Come by and enjoy some fermented fish with us, that sort of thing. I have not yet tried it. Yes, Mike, and many people get educated and leave here. Yeah, that's it's a problem here where I live as well. You know, people grow up here and they're happy here long enough, but there is very limited employment in this place. So often people leave home and uh, and head out abroad to try to make their fortunes elsewhere. It's very interesting. A friend of mine works 10 to 15 years with film creator Roy Anderson. Wow, that is cool. Father Fish has a question. I apologize for not seeing it earlier. If you put multiple nodes in a single container, can they be harvested individually? Yes, sure. Yeah, you could. It would be a little probably a little ungainly, perhaps, or a little bit difficult to work with. But sure, you could. You know how in each of these containers I put one piece of EXPLANT in each one. Typically, that's not what we do. Typically, we put four, maybe six, maybe eight in each of them. And that way, what happens is those explode with shoots, right? They explode with shoots everywhere. Okay? In turn, we take those, after about a month, we take that tissue culture vessel down in front of the flow hood here in a sterile environment, and we start harvesting shoots out of that tissue culture container. And we use those shoots to do the same thing again. You see, this is why this phase is called the multiplication phase, or excuse me, the next phase is called the multiplication phase. This phase is called the initiation phase. This is where we're trying to start these. If we're successful, then we'll move on to multiplication. And we'll repeat the multiplication stage for as many times as we want. I mean, indefinitely, forever if you want. But eventually you have enough and you move on to the next stage, which is rooting. Yeah, Cichlids23 mentioned he has this plant. Yes, you do. I sent you some of this plant, my friend. I hope it's doing well for you. This is a very, very lovely plant. There is one thing I don't like at all about this plant. Aquascapers love it because when you put it in an aquarium and you know, like I said before, you get plenty of wonderful light and lots of CO2 and all that good stuff. It turns really brilliantly red. Red, red, red. However, I've noticed that the older leaves on the plant, it's a stem plant, as the plant grows up and gets taller and taller, if you go down about 3 nodes in the plant, you know, like this is the topmost leaf, and then the next one, like by the second, possibly the third leaf, those leaves start growing algae every time, and I can't prevent it. No matter what I do, the edges of these leaves will grow this kind of black algae. I almost wonder if it's just something that plant is always going to do no matter what. So that is one annoying thing about the plant I don't like. So when the leaves get older, you know, they start to do that, I just clip them off. And when it gets leggy, about, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 inches tall, that's it. I clip it, replant it, and get rid of the old base, the base of it. Father Fish asks, will a productive node produce multiple culture starters? Absolutely. Yes. So this plant, not this plant, but the plant we just finished, Ludwigia Repens Mini Super Red, with the formula that I showed you, and I'll show you where the hell did I put, where the heck did I put my notepad? I think I left it upstairs. Anyway, in the last video last night, I showed you the recipe. We had 0.010 milligrams, 0.005 milligrams of TDZ. Here, I just found my notes, sorry. This is our recipe from last night. So with this recipe, with Ludwigia Repens, if you've done everything right, you can expect 1 meristem to yield about 14 to 15 shoots. So that is to say, one meristem, one meristematic cell at the end of that meristem, right, which normally will turn into one shoot, will instead turn into perhaps 15, 16 shoots. And all plants are different. Some like Hemianthus micranthomoides, one meristem from that plant will turn into like 50, 75 shoots. Right? It just depends on the plant. I'm going to be curious to see how many shoots, if this works, how many shoots this plant will give us, if any. I mean, it might not work at all, but yeah, this plant is particularly difficult to propagate the normal way, because every time you clip it, you would normally get 2 shoots out of every other plant. You get 1 out of this. So if you're trying to propagate Persicaria Sao Paulo the traditional way, it'll take a while. So it looks like we have about 8 more minutes of this. Silly Susie says, good pickle jars. Yes, they are. I picked them up from a big box store. And yeah, the seals really, they're serious. They're serious looking seals. Yeah, Cichlids 23, I know all about people moving away as well, not just because of lack of jobs and that sort of thing, but because of cost. And California is a very good example of that. New York City is another one. Seattle is not much better. I'm in Washington State. I don't live in the greater Seattle area, but I'm close enough to know that basically gentrification has run most of the locals away. Most of the original people who just can't afford to live there. It's a real problem. Now with this plant, I'm thinking after I trim it back, let me think about this for a moment. Because of the structure of this plant, it reminds me of bamboo. Actually, let me get a piece of it in the other room. Let me move this back. I'll get a piece and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I've dissected this plant before, and I know where its meristem is. Let me get a crappy piece. All right, this will work. So here's a piece of Persicaria, Sao Paulo. So that's a node, right? That's a node. That's a node. Here you can see that sheath I was talking about. Here, sticking up here, kind of feathery stuff. Gotta get rid of that. The hormones probably won't penetrate that. So I'll show you where the meristem is in this plant. If you can find it. This leaf, when you tear it down. That little white area there, right there. It's the meristem in this plant. Show you one more time. Right there. So, it's going to be tricky getting that exposed in our agar, in our media, so our auxin and our cytokinin, as well as our carbon source and everything else, can have the desired effect. I'm going to give it our best shot here. Okay? Looks like we have 2 more minutes, and then we can proceed and hopefully wrap up. And I can release you guys. Pardon me. Gosh. Silly Susie says, my aunt used to make salt dill pickles. Would love to get some of those. Oh, man. Yeah, I love pickles. I love them. My grandma, who's no longer with us, sadly, she used to pickle and preserve everything. Everything. Pickled okra, pickled beets, I mean, you name it. Definitely had the pickling and the canning process down perfectly. Another minute or two, and we're going to give this a go. Mikael, tell us a little bit about fish keeping in Sweden, please, in chat. I'm very curious to know about fish keeping, aquarium keeping, aquascaping, that sort of thing, where you're from. It'd be very interesting to know more about that. Yes, Punchy Paints, you're right. To really make pickles, you need to get a hold of an old cookbook. Absolutely. My mom and dad have my grandma's cookbooks. Very, very old. The binding is broken in them. They're held together with tape and prayers and love. Yeah, there are some recipes in there that just simply don't really exist anymore. I find food and recipes to be a very, very interesting way to get to know a people or a culture. Case in point, I lived overseas for for a good portion of my life in Indonesia, Philippines, Southeast Asia, South Asia, Middle East, all over the place, Cambodia, you name it. And I found that by far the best way to get to know, the culture and the people and the country you're in Just go out and eat. And don't eat where the tourists are eating. Never eat where tourists are eating because they're getting ripped off. You go eat where the locals are eating. Ask a local. And you will find that you will learn more about that culture and those people over that meal than you could ever learn in the library. And I'll get off of my soapbox now, but I feel very strongly about that. And we are at 7:33. We are 1 minute over. That's okay. This is a really tough plant. Okay, let's back this up. Back it up. Move this over. Again, I'm going to sterilize that surface because I've been waving my hands around, blah, blah, blahing to you guys. All right, Ruby. I have actually a good feeling about the person carrier. I think it might work. I don't know. Or not. Put this down. Oh dear, we ran out of alcohol. Let me start my lamp again. I gotta fill the lamp up in case I burned all the booze out of it. Okay. Everclear. Everclear is 95% pure grain alcohol. The only person you should ever give it to drink is an enemy. And even then, that might be classified easily as a war crime. 2 seconds. Gross. Alright. Got some fire back over here. You see that? Open this up. Get our plant out. Hopefully, a sterilized plant. Okay. Get these up. I'm going to heat my stopper up. Cool a little bit. One, two, three, 4 nodes. Okay. All right, let's see what we can do with this plant. see if this is going to be kind to us. I'm not sure. There we go. Just like that. Now this is basically liquid. This one's really, really thin, unfortunately. But it has all, oops, look at that. I was forgetting to put micropore tape on it. Yikes. Not good. You would definitely get contamination if you do that. No mistake. Okay. There we go. Okay. Move that over here. Another one. Once again, heating up our forceps and scalpel. Okay. That was messy. Okay. Go. All right. Number 3. Okay, that's number 2. This one I did differently. I'm going to cut and size it. Further away. See if it makes any difference. I doubt it, but you never know. final one, guys. Yeah. Yeah. Before. And there you have it. The four on the left are Ludwigia Repens, Millie Super Red, and those four are the Persicaria Sao Paulo. So we'll see how they do. Good stuff. Well, that was interesting. And I hope you guys found it interesting too. So that is the end of part 3 of my DIY aquarium plant tissue cultures science series. So we started with a kind of a 20, 30,000 foot overview of plant tissue culture and what it is. Went over totipotency and auxin versus cytokinins and all that good stuff. Covered some of the fundamentals, the core concepts. Part 2 was us basically last night working with preparing the media, talking about sterilization, talking a little bit about equipment. And then today, part 3 was us actually harvesting explants and selecting the explants and washing them and then rinsing them and sterilizing them, chopping them down and then placing them in our media. So that's it. That's it. The first, I was going purposefully slow, and I think that was a mistake. I think that I may have thrown you guys a little bit because I was going purposefully slow and talking a lot about it. So maybe that's not the best way to go about it. Next time we do this, now that we've at least done one, plant tissue culture series together, next time I'll just zip right through it. For instance, next time we make multiplication media or initiation media or whatever it is, the gel, we can make that in like 5 minutes, seriously. And yeah, so that's probably what we'll do next time. Anyway, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the time you spent with me today. I really appreciate you guys spending time with me over here at Redfish Bluefish. As always, I say it every time, if you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing to my channel and giving me a thumbs up. And it would be pretty cool if you guys could drop a link on Facebook or something to my channel from time to time. It would be much appreciated. But anyway, until then, I guess I will see you next Friday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Like I said, I've got some 40-gallon breeders I'm not really sure what we're going to do next week, to be honest with you. For sure next week, I'm going to bring you guys in the lab, and hopefully when I show you those micropropagation vessels, we'll have good news. Hopefully we don't have contamination. I will warn you guys, it happens. It definitely happens. And if you do get contamination in one of your little containers, chances are you got it in all of them, because that's how this thing works. At any rate, we're going to revisit that next Friday. We're going to show you guys what kind of progress we have, if any, and maybe we'll kick off a new project of some sort. Maybe an aquascape out of one of the 40 gallons. Who knows? 40-gallon breeders. I've never done a 40-gallon breeder aquascape. That could be cool. Anyway, guys, I won't keep rattling on. Thanks so much for spending time with me here at Redfish Bluefish, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.